I've been working on my client acquisition system for many, many years. And if you know anything about me, it's that yes, I do close quite a few clients. And you know what? So do a lot of my clients. And that usually means that they have to onboard a lot of clients. Yay. But if you've ever onboarded a new client, you know that A, it takes a lot of time, and B, it creates quite a bit of stress because you want to make sure that your client has the best onboarding process ever, so that way you have a good lifetime value for that client. And that applies to any B2B business, whether that be SaaS, IT, marketing, whatever. And it got to the point where despite getting the onboarding actually done, it was just not worth always doing the same thing over and over again. So we decided to just automate that shit. And let me tell you, ever since we started building onboarding systems and automations, life has been so much easier for myself and my clients as well. I feel like I've gotten a piece of my sanity back. Now, after working with 180 plus B2B companies, we looked at everything and we realized that every good onboarding process for that type of business needed a few things. Number one was a really good welcome email. Number two was somebody had to set up the new client in the project management tool. And number three, somebody had to fill out all of the information about the client in a client profile so that way everybody was on the same page about what the scope was, what the project was, etc., etc. Next was somebody had to send the intake forms. Somebody had to share the links. And then of course, somebody had to schedule a kickoff call. And that's what makes a good onboarding process for sure, but for a lot of our clients, they were doing that manually by hand. And a lot of our clients tried to delegate that to their other team members, but the problem was that there was not enough accountability, so they didn't know if maybe the welcome email sent, but the intake form wasn't sent, or maybe the intake form was already filled out, but the output wasn't added onto Notion yet, all that kind of stuff. So we started building out a dope automation that just does all of that. And you can totally replicate this automation on whatever automation tool you have as well. The methodology is always the same, whether you're using Zapier, Make, NAN, Claude, just build the onboarding automation. So in this video, I'm just going to show you a simple onboarding automation that I recently built for one of my clients on Zapier because that's just one of the tools that they had. I'm going to show you the tools and the softwares they were using. I'm going to show you the flow, and I'll pretty much give you a rough outline of how you can do this for your own business as well. Because onboarding is kind of exhausting if you do it enough times. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so at the beginning of every automation, you got to have a trigger. And so in this case, it's a new opportunity status on Closed CRM. Closed CRM is the CRM that our client is currently using. Now, for some people, depending on what their current process looks like, you might actually want to have the trigger be when a lead signs a contract with you. And so your contract signing tool would then be the trigger. But in this case, there's just so many things involved in their signing tool. So we were just like, okay, we're just going to have the trigger be on close. So if our client changes the status on the lead, then it triggers this entire automation. And then we added a delay. And so this is what we call a support when it comes down to automation. Every good automation should always have a trigger, should have supports if necessary, should have action items, and should have a complete or a checkpoint. Keep that in mind. And so the delay is a support. So we added delay for 5 minutes. And the reason why we did that was because just in case our client accidentally clicked on the status for a lead that has not become a client yet, we didn't want them to have to deal with the embarrassment of accidentally sending out a welcome email to somebody who hasn't even signed a contract yet. So this gives them 5 minutes to change their mind in case they accidentally click on that button. Next is we have a filter to make sure that this client was actually won. And that means that nothing else will come through because again, the most embarrassing thing is sending a welcome email to somebody who's not even your client yet. And then afterwards, we had to format the text because what we noticed was that the information it was pulling from the CRM, it was pulling the first and the last name, but it was pulling them as one. And so it was saying like, hi, Brandie Wong, how's it going? And so instead of that, we decided to use the formatter, which is another support item, to split the name in half. So that way it was just like, hi, Brandie. Brandie is my name, by the way. And after that, this automation will then send the welcome email, which also includes the intake form as well as the kickoff call booking link. And so that's, 3 things done in one go. For most of our clients, we also recommend a client expectations video. So that way you can start your relationship off with your new client as smooth as possible. And so the next action item after that would be creating the new client in their Notion. Notion is their project management tool that, yes, we set up for them as well. And then we can also pull in a bunch of information that was already in the CRM to help fill out the Notion project management tool for that new client. And then the last action item, which is also the checkpoint or complete, is sending a Slack message. And so at the end of this entire automation, it'll also notify my client's team to let them know that a new client has signed and has been onboarded. And now they can proceed with the rest of the onboarding, the part that's more technical. And so this is a very, very basic automation. It's not complicated at all. Yours might look very different. Some of our clients, theirs are a lot bigger, and some of them, they have them a lot shorter, depending on what it is that they need and the way that they work. But yeah, now that you've watched this video, there's really no excuse for you not to have an automation like this. Okay, so now you've reached the end of this video. You'll probably have noticed that this automation is actually super easy. It just takes a bit of time for you to be able to map out how exactly you want your automations and what your onboarding process looks like. That's the hard part. Building the automations Easy. Anyone can build an automation. Planning the operational part, you gotta put a lot more thought into it, and you can't cheat with using AI, because how are you gonna prompt it if you don't know what your own onboarding system is? So take the time, write out your onboarding process, write out the parts that you think you can automate, and then try to automate them. I encourage you, use whatever tools you're already paying for. Zapier, Make, NAN, Claude. Hopefully you're paying for Claude. And if you don't want to do it yourself, or you want to have the entire operations strategy planned out for your entire business instead of just one automation, then you might be interested in our 7-day free trial. In the 7-day free trial, we come in and we identify 1 to 2 brutal bottlenecks that your business is dealing with that is holding back your revenue, and we help you plan and build the solutions live and in front of you. And if one of your brutal bottlenecks is your onboarding, then that's where we'll start. We don't need no contract, no credit card, no commitment, and the best part is anything we build for you, you get to keep. If we build you a whole operations plan that lays out exactly how you're going to reach your revenue goals without tiring yourself out, you can keep it. It's yours. Pinky promise. If you want more details about it, link is in the description below. If you want to connect with me, like, my LinkedIn is going to be somewhere on the screen. If you want to follow me on Instagram, feel free to. I also post content there. I hope you learned something from this video. If you didn't, I hope it was a kick in the butt for you to add more automations and plan out your operations for real. Peace.